Hi guys, so today I'll be walking you through a basic concept on how to check the differences between two different arrays. For a better understanding of this concept, I would like to introduce you to a boilerplate of what our functions will look like. So this function is called missing int and it is taken in two arguments by default, taken in the first array and also taken in the second array. So we are declaring our function here. We're also passing in two different arguments to it, containing one repeated twice and two also repeated twice after concatenating the two arrays together. So the first thing we need to check for, we need to check if a valid array is being passed into our function. So how do we achieve that? We are going to call in a built-in function in JavaScript called array.isArray. So what it does is it returns true or false if what is being passed in is a valid array or not. So the first is going to be an if statement that check so we need to add an exclamation mark here. What the exclamation mark does is it check if it is not a valid array. So for us to test if what we are doing is right, let's pass in a string here. So if I have to pass in a string here, let's say we put in just anything, and we also send. So we can see that. So we get the error message: invalid argument supplied as we expected. So since we are getting in two different arguments from our function, we also need to check for the second argument. So for us to achieve that, we'll be using the or statement in JavaScript. So we want to check if not array dot is array, our second argument. So this also check if the second argument is also not an array, then it returns the error message to the console. So let's also test with a string here. Let's say put in just anything and we make sure that this first argument is a valid array. We can put in anything here. So we run this, we also get the error message, which means our second argument is not a valid array. So this works. Let's proceed into the main logic that handles the differences between the two arrays. But before we proceed, let's make sure our function is being called with two different data that contains elements that repeated themselves twice after concatenating the two arrays together. So we have 1, 2, 3 there. We also have 1, 2, 3 here, which means 1 has repeated twice, 2 has repeated twice, and 3 has also repeated itself twice. We also need to add some other element that is not a repetition of itself. Let's put 4, 5, and 6 here. So the first step we need to take is we need to concatenate these two arrays together. So for us to concatenate these two arrays together, we are going to be using a built-in method in JavaScript called .concat. Concat, what does is it takes two different arrays and concatenates them together, then return a new version of the array which combines the two arrays together. So we'll be adding our first return statement here. But to make things clear for you guys, I would like to be storing them in a variable, then count them one after the other. Let's declare a variable here. Let's say let concatenated equal to array1 dot concat array2. Oh, sorry for that. Okay, so if you are, let's return concatenated and see what it gives us. So you can see concat gave us a new version of the array combining the two different array passed to it. So this works. Let's proceed to the next step. So for us to check that an element doesn't repeat itself twice in two different arrays, we need to make sure that we'll be using the dot filter method. So let's call concatenated, which contains the concatenated version of our array dot filter So our dot filter will be taking a callback function. So the callback function will be taking in, let's say, it's be taking the first argument, which is the elements in the array. So elements, and the second argument will be the index of each of the elements in the array, and the third argument will be the array itself, which contains the whole concatenated array. So we are now going to return, let's return, now we're going to check that the first index of that particular array is not the last index of it. So what do I actually mean by that? And to check that array, which contains the whole of our array, dot index of element. So what it does is it returns the first occurrence of which that particular element can be found in the array. So we also need to check if it is the same thing as the last occurrence of it. So array dot last index of element. So we need to check if the first occurrence is the same thing as the last occurrence. This array dot index of returns the first index at which that particular element can be found in the array, and the array dot last index of will return the last index at which that particular element can be found in the array. Let's come to what we have here. We have 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. 1 repeated itself twice, 2 and 3 also repeated themselves twice. So if we have to check for this, it will come here. It sees 1. It's the first occurrence of 1. 1 occurs at index 0. It also go to what is the next occurrence of 1. It sees 1 again. So if I have to check this, is 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's also occurring at index 3 in that particular array, which means it doesn't pass our test case here. Since what we want to achieve is we want to make sure that we don't repeat any element more than once. We are checking each unique element that doesn't occur in the other elements and combine them together to form a new array. So in this case now 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't need the 1, 2, 3 because 1, 2, 3 occurred in two array. We only need an element that occurred in one but doesn't occur in the other. In this case 4, 5, 6 is what we want our function to return for us. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we want to make sure that if you have to check for array dot index of and we check to 1, 2, 3, all the 1 to 3 doesn't pass because they occur twice. Their last index of is not the same thing as the first index of them. So we check for 3, we check for 4. Now we get to 4. Our function check what is the first occurrence of 4 in that particular array. It goes to 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which means it is 6. So it checked 6. Is 6 equals to the last occurrence? What is the last occurrence of 4? We also have 4 as indexes. That means 4 pass our test cases, 4 will be included. It goes to the next element, which is 5. That means 5 occurred at index 7. So it checks, is the first occurrence the same thing as the last occurrence, which means 7 is equal to 7. This part of our test cases also, it will be included. We also go to 6. 6 occurred at index 8. Is index 8 equal to index 8? Is 8 equals to 8? This is 2. So this also goes for it. So with this, I think we should have come along a better solution for what we want to achieve. But this won't work as expected yet. We need the return statement. If we are to run this, it return undefined for us. So we get undefined here. We need to add a return statement here to make sure that this actually returns what we want for us. So if you click on return, we get 456, which is the expected output. Thank you so much for listening and for paying a wonderful attention. That is the end of my tutorial for today. You have a wonderful day.